Well, here I was going on fire on a really good stream, and my internet went. So we're restarting. Besides, I'd kind of like to go ahead and talk about net neutrality a little bit too. It is net neutrality day after all. So give me a brief moment here. I'm going to switch back over to Cat. Enjoy the Cat while I get my chat set up on the other side, and hopefully people will find me over at the new one. Okay, we're back, yes. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, that was exciting. I don't know where the thing left off. All of a sudden, I'm like, my chat went out. I thought it was that whole chat went out thing, so I tried to refresh that, and that didn't work. I look over OBS, I'm recording 0. I look at the router, and the router, nothing's going anywhere. It's just like, whatever. And so I just go ahead and reset the router anyway. So, hey, welcome back. Hey, we've beat DRM to death. Let's go ahead and smash on net neutrality a little bit. That sounds great. Yes, for you guys commenting, I did cross 3,000 subs today. Thanks, everybody, for all that. I appreciate it. And thanks be to you guys. And, hey, if everybody tells 5 of your latest friends, we can reach 15,000 tomorrow. Now. Yeah, crazy. I think we're back. I think we are back. We are back. We are back. Okay. All right. Let's see. So we got the new one here. Let's see. I guess let's just talk briefly. Let's see. Let me see if I can find some articles on the net neutrality thing. Because I think that's the latest big thing today. If you see if you check out pretty much all sites, a lot of websites are now pushing a pop-up today. Let me see if I can get EFFs up here as well. Yeah, I don't know if the script that I deployed just blocked all pop-ups or everything entirely. If so, it's a really good script. But you were getting, anytime you go to EFF, you'd get the, you'd get a little pop-up there saying, hey, why don't you go ahead and sign the letter here. But pretty much the, again, we're just still back on this net neutrality thing. This is kind of a day where a lot of people standing behind net neutrality. And this is one of those things that's like, most of these big companies are for net neutrality because they realize that they could easily be shut down by the big ones if they're not playing nice. Pretty much a lot of companies are coming out and taking a stand and saying, leave Title II classification alone. And frankly, if the FCC decides to kill Title II classification, which is the requirement, it's not just a matter of, oh, we'll agree with all this, just let the Title II go away. No, if you do not follow, back in 2015, a ruling was done whereby if Title II was not the classification, net neutrality was not enforceable, and that is why the Title II is critically important. And remember that if ISPs get their way and kill net neutrality, it opens them up for the ability to downstream services that are in conflict with them. For example, like Comcast owns a stock in Hulu, they don't own a stock in Netflix. So that means that Hulu could very well have very high speed priority traffic on Comcast, but Netflix would have to pay Comcast or give them a percentage of their company if they happen to want the same thing. That's the danger with net neutrality. And before you think that, oh, all these companies are agreeing, yeah, they're agreeing in the terms and conditions, which the very first or very last things in the terms and conditions says we can change this at any time without informing you, and you're still bound to the new changes. But the fact is, a lot of ISPs are now starting to tinker with net neutrality, kind of testing laws really, because If I go on to, for example, Verizon, and now they want to institute data caps, but if you're on Verizon's personal streaming system, which is, I don't know, GoTo or whatever it is, I forget what it's called, that does not count towards your cap. But YouTube does count towards your cap. But if YouTube pays Verizon a certain amount of money, then they'll make sure that YouTube traffic doesn't count towards the cap. And so what happens is net neutrality favors the big ISPs to control the web at a time when the internet is the most important thing we all happen to have. And that's kind of the issue there. All right. Tom gets enough likes, his channel won't be targeted by Google. It's Comcast targeting my channel these days. Hey there, Ryan. How's it going there? If this sticks, it will spread everywhere. Mine's still screwy. Works again. Day of action isn't over. Oh, Go90. Go90. That's right. Verizon's streaming service is called Go90. So if you have Go90, you know, they legally can't down-regulate your speed, but you can stream all day long on Go90. It will not count towards your data cap, but YouTube will. And here's the difference. Linus Tech Tips is doing some recording in a format that a second of it takes, 3 seconds takes a gigabyte. Okay, so 30 seconds and you're looking at hundreds, like, you know, just a standard video, hundreds and hundreds of gigabytes. So I'm recording this in 1080p, which 1080p is pretty sizable. When I record on my iPhone, my outdoor philosophies, recording the outdoor philosophies on the iPhone, what ends up happening and the things that I see there is those 15 to 30 minute files are easily 1.5 gigs. That's a lot of data. And if I'm downstreaming or downloading this while I'm streaming and watching Netflix or HD YouTube or whatever else, I'm going to hit a data cap pretty fast. I mean, if you think of it, a standard YouTube video would be about a gig for, you know, 30 minutes to an hour show. Well, if you watch 3 or 4 of those, that's a few gigabytes. You add that up over the month and you have that 100 gigabyte data cap. Well, I don't know, some are a terabyte, which would be closer to 1,000, but regardless, you can pass these caps pretty high, which means the ISP can charge more money. And basically, net neutrality is going to say, no, we can't tinker with the data caps. We can't tinker with all of this other stuff. We just need to stick around with the things that kind of work. Let's see. Reps in the house will love this. When did the world get broken? I don't know, a few years back. Does this affect most of the world in US or Europe or what? I'm guessing everything. Okay. Net neutrality is mostly a US thing, but if it affects the US, it's going to have global implications. Absolutely. SoundCloud, for example, was a German company, you know, and so, you know, you have a lot of things like that. Now, the previous topic before Comcast decided to kill my stream, we're talking about DRM. That's a global thing. That is a global thing, and that's something that you need to keep that in mind. Kiddos, what's your Linux based distro? Are you talking to someone else or me? Okay, let's have a quick look here at some of these articles. So there's just a few articles, and since I was not prepared today to talk about net neutrality, I've not read these, but we're going to have a look. But pretty much these were back. These were back in 2004. If you remember back in 2004, 2005 is when the internet was regulated for Title II. Wheeler wanted to kind of do something that Pi is doing now. But the problem is Wheeler actually listened to the people and the companies and said, okay, yeah, people are really speaking and we need to do what the people want. Pi doesn't care. He's just like, I'll do whatever you guys want, ISPs. $1 million, please. $5 million, please. And that's kind of the part of the challenge. So, of course, everyone's now the Republican-led. No. Leave the politics out of it, okay? You got a greedy idiot up there, and I got news for you. Democrats will take bribes just as well as Republicans will. So let's leave the politics out of this thing. It's just the idiot in charge. It's just the idiot in charge. So pretty much what they want to do, once again, if you have followed my channel, you've heard all this before, I apologize. But pretty much, they want to get rid of this Title II Common Carrier regulation. So what Title II Common Carrier does is it makes these internet it makes the internet essentially it makes it a public utility, which of course the internet nowadays is a public utility. And being a public utility, it has a lot more protections. The reason is, way back when, a company would come in and it would say, you know, it costs us $7 million to run our phone lines out to rural America, and we don't really have that kind of money. So what would happen is the government would allow them to have a temporary monopoly over that, and so that they could recoup the losses of putting in the streams. But to account for that, they also had to agree not to price gouge people and to keep things at under wraps. And so with that, what happened is the Title II classification was born, which regulates essentially any utilities. So, getting concerned, my thing just blipped again. And so with Title II, it meant that there were a lot more regulations about what a service, what a utility, or what anything else could possibly do, and that was really, really good for the people utilizing those services, because it prevented Verizon or AT&T at the time from coming in, spending $1 million, getting everybody on the phone, and then jacking them up to $500 a month for phone service in rural America, and there's no other option because nobody else could run on those lines. And that's kind of the issue. So what's going on right now is we do have major monopolies. Like, I am in a absolute major, like, I'm not in New York City, but I'm in a pretty big area. Okay. When there's a Penn State football game, we become the third largest. We surpass the size of Erie. Okay. When a Penn State football game is going on, it is a huge place. We have a lot of competition in the cellular field, but what we do not have a lot of competition in, we don't have a lot of the competition in the we don't have the competition in the ISPs. Now, there are technically, I don't know, 5 or so ISPs you can get, but only one of them actually gives you internet greater than 3 Mbps. That means that there's really only one option for good high-speed broadband internet. And that company, I hate them, and I'm forced to use them because I cannot work without them. And so I have a monopoly. So what happens in our country now in America is we have these regional monopolies. We got a few huge, national, well, they're probably global, but national ISPs, but they don't have any overlap. And they should have overlap, because the overlap will be better for the consumer. Because if I get frustrated with one, I can switch to the other. They'll keep their prices down. And that's why it's like they want to charge me like $80 for internet. Just internet? No, that's insanity. That's price gouging, for crying out loud, for something that is a utility that is required in our modern day and age. And so what's going on is the FCC wants to get rid of this because the ISPs want them to get rid of this, because if they get rid of that, now not only am I locked into the ISP unless I move, but I'm also locked into the services those ISPs want. And you better believe that those services are going to go ahead and charge me whatever they want, or I just can't have it. And that's kind of that challenge. Oh boy. Can see my comment. Yes. We will fight. Okay. For the world. All right. Anyone else playing Portal? Nope. Okay. Very conservative friend of mine is against net neutrality. His arguments are laughable. What are his arguments? Does he know the arguments? Arch Labs keeps calling my name. Great. Have you subs to Eric Du Bois the day of Arch Labs? Okay. He's saying it's pro-competition. No, he's listening to Asiat Pie. There is nothing pro-competition about net neutrality. Okay, what is pro-competition about the ISP being able to say, oh, you little startup company, would you like to have bandwidth on our network? Pay us $700 bajillion, please. Then you can have the same internet speed on our network. Yeah, that's pro-competition? Need more active competition. I hate these non-compete clauses. Yeah, the funny one, AT&T had a final statement on their non-compete clause stuff the other day. They're like, well, no, but you don't have to use AT&T. Well, if it's my only option for landline phone, I do. You don't need the internet. What do you need the internet for? You don't need the internet. You don't need privacy on the internet. You don't need the internet. Internet's the same as Facebook, isn't it? Yep. I think it brings out the best in companies. They can't just get lazy. Yep. That's what competition does, you know. If you start up a store and the store right across the street from you, if you have 5 cent higher gas, you know, chances are the other guy's going to get your money, you know. It causes this competition. Now, the most hilarious thing, though, is that there is certainly some anti-consumer stuff in there. For example, minimum prices on milk. Yeah, the United States has minimum prices on milk. That's kind of freaky. And just to make sure we maintain the minimum prices of milk, despite there being millions of starving people in this country, every now and again the government decides to pour several million gallons of milk down the drain because there's too much milk in the country right now. We got to keep these milk prices static. Let's just dump this stuff. And there's starving people in the streets. That right there is insanity to no end. If you want me to find the article to demonstrate that, I will see about finding it. You and the U.S. get ripped off. Yeah, U.S. internet's like one of the worst out there. Tell him how is competitive if net neutrality is going back to railroads and highways only to tycoons. Corporatism, yep. Something good in Finland. An internet connection is classed as a human right. A meg connection is included in most rents. That's sweet. I like that. That's cool. Can you pay more? Can you pay more if you want faster internet? That's not too bad, though. That's pretty nice. Love of Finland because some great metal bands and poets of the fall and indeed good people. All right. Who uses landline phones these days? Not a whole lot. In reality, though, in America, I mean, you get better cellular signal out there in the country than you do, you know, internet or landline. I'm still fighting this issue with Verizon where I'm at. I should have absolutely no problem getting LTE network, and I'm stuck on 3G. I go out to the country, a few miles out, I can get LTE out in the country. I just can't get it right here. That's kind of exciting. Only have a landline. Sweet. Unless you're in an area with multiple ISPs, you're stuck. Yeah, and almost no area has multiple ISPs, at least not good multiple ISPs. Cellular is getting better than anything. What's my internet speed? My internet speed now is 100. So they wanted to charge me, if anyone can tell me why, this is Comcast. They wanted to charge me $75 for 25 Mbps internet. I call them up. I said, I can't do that. Like, well, we got this bundle package, like 120 something with 100 Mbps and cable. And I was like, well, I don't watch TV. And no, definitely not interested in that. And certainly not going to rent your cable boxes. He's like, well, what if we give you this one at 100 Mbps for $60? 25 Mbps for $75 or 100 Mbps for $60. Why did it take me 2 phone calls in 30 minutes to get 100 Mbps for $60? This is what I'm talking about. That should be flat out illegal. What is going on? Why can I not get accurate prices online? I know what the service is. And like, literally, if you're on Comcast, call them up and complain until they give you something cheaper. Do it. Do it. They're insane. They're insane in the membrane over there. They've lost the rocker, but they're just going to keep on taking money. The first level of call, you got to get up to customer retention, and then they'll actually do something for you, which is crazy. Now, of course, I run a DOCS 2.0 modem, so I can't get more than 30 anyway, so I don't care about 100. I mean, if I could go out to the store and buy a better modem, I'd get something better, but I need more than 3. I really don't need more than 30, I mean, honestly. Can we pay more for internet and cell phones? Can I move to Finland, please? I have a landline for DSL as well. Yeah. Moving out tomorrow. 5040G is something like 5.2 in the real world. Yeah. I pay 24, they give me 8. See, I could do 8. I mean, as long as I get up. I need like 3 up. Right now I'm getting 3.6 to 4 up is what I'm getting. And that's what I need to stream 1080p. Anything less than that, I can't do 1080p streams. Pay more for a faster connection. No, not at Comcast. Not in Comcast logic. I pay 30 a month for 100 down and 20 up. Oh, you lucky dog. You could stream 4K if you wanted. 100 Mbps is down speed, likely 10 up. No, actually mine's only 3 up, or 5 or 6 up. I think it's the most they do is 5 or 6 up, which is funny. What's your caps? I'm in Pennsylvania. I don't think we have data caps. Like, I'm reasonably sure we're going to be the last state to get caps because, you know, Comcast is a Pennsylvania company. I think that, you know, sometimes you play the good side of politics. Wi-Fi AC does better with it, but there's a lot of tall buildings in big cities. Yeah. Well, I mean, we don't have a lot of tall buildings, but, and especially where I'm in, I'm on the way outskirts of town, but I should still be in the 4G spot. In fact, outside of town, I'm outside of the LTE maps, and I get LTE out there, just not here. Just kind of funny. So ISP caps are on upload speed. We have caps here. I have caps too. Ha 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 ha. Oh boy. So over here at EFF, they have their article today. You might have noticed the warnings on our site that was blocked unless you shell out for premium internet access. So if you have the ability, go to EFF.org right now. You see if you can get the pop-up showing up. I can't get it pop up. It's either because of cookie, I've been there today, or it's because of all of these scripts I put into my system. But basically what they're doing is they're just trying to raise awareness of net neutrality, kind of blocking the site unless you do more. Tinfoil cap time. There you go. All right. As part of the day of action to support net neutrality, we decided to imagine what would happen if FCC Chairman Ajit Pai caves to the industry pressure and abandons net neutrality. If you don't want to live in the future, it's time to take action. So go to one of these sites. If you're in the U.S. Particularly, go to one of these take actions and, you know, and write the FCC about this. And it's nice and easy. Just put your name in there, and you can add some extra comments of your very own. They'll send a nice form letter out with you know, with your comments. Just yet another one, you know. Make it easy for Team Internet to do just that. We've created a special site, dearfcc.org. And so they can do their own stuff. So some large ISPs say they support net neutrality. They just want the FCC to go enforce it under a different legal provision, because enforcing under a different legal provision, it's not enforceable. Go figure. They tried that with Verizon. Check out the case again with, I think it was Verizon, and it's Verizon and the FCC in 2015, I think, is when the ruling came out. The judge said you can't enforce net neutrality rules because the internet is not classified under Title II. That's why it's Title II. So that's why they're like, we want net neutrality, just get rid of the Title II. No, they want to get rid of Title II because net neutrality is not enforceable. That's the problem. Want to go to the FCC, enforce under a different legal provision, or have Congress pass a specific net neutrality law. But this is just a trick. They already know the FCC goes back to classifying broadband as an informational service. Its net neutrality rules will fail just because it did last time, which is that case. So Congress isn't likely to pass a real net neutrality statute anytime soon, if ever, given the millions that telecom giants have invested in making sure they get to write any regulation of their industry. So, pretty much what this is about is that lots of companies are raising awareness to bring information, basically let people know what's going to happen. And so you could put up plugins on your website that would block your website, you know, quote unquote block, unless you quote unquote paid premium, and then they say just kidding, and then give you information. Yep, there you go. Pop-up asking for $100 on EFF. Yep, that's what we're looking at. That's what we're looking at. So this is EFF and Broad Coalition call for day of action to defend net neutrality. So that's kind of what's going on over here. Do the new rules also have effect for people outside the U.S.? Net neutrality is not directly outside the U.S., but it will have a lot of broad implications. However, what it would do is if you want to access a website on a U.S. company, because of the way websites and internet is routed and proxied, you get a lot of that you'll get a lot of crossplay between the different networks, and if everybody's down-regulating one particular, Joe Schmo's Crab Shack because he won't, pay the extra $1 million a year for, Fastlane, then yeah, outside the country, you still won't be able to get to that because once you get into the borders, you still have to rely on these other networks to actually get there. Better signal in country across America. Maybe here they're neglecting you guys. Well, what seems to be happening, depending on who you ask, what seems to be happening is that the companies are, like, right now there's this big war because the only place where there's really good competition in the telecom in the United States is in cellular. Like, there are a bunch, and that's why cellular data, like cellular phone companies, tend to be better and cheaper because there's actually competition. Go figure, better for the consumer. And so what's happening then is they're all now rushing and fighting for the licenses for the 5G speeds. And so what's happening, according to some people, is that the 4G services are going down because the lines are being neglected. I'm going to look up predicted Verizon signal 2017, because I remember one of Sprint's commercials. Of course, now we're trusting Sprint to tell us what their competitor's doing, but one of them was actually saying that the speeds of certain internet providers are going to be declining. So, okay, here's something from Reddit. Let's see. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find what I'm looking for on short notice here, but pretty much what was happening is whether it's because of a proliferation of phones on the network or whatever reason, cell signals are declining in strength, and that tends to be negatively impacting some of the stuff there. Okay. Stupid question. As long as you're not going to ask me how many people the Earth can hold before it starts moving in space, you're fine. Can you define net neutrality? It's been very fuzzy. Okay, net neutrality means, and it's fuzzy intentionally. The ISPs are trying to muddle what it means. Net neutrality means that the internet is a neutral place, meaning it doesn't matter what my ISP is and what website I'm attempting to connect to. The speed may not be regulated one website versus another. So where this has play is I have Comcast internet here. I don't bother hiding it anymore. I think you all know. So I have Comcast internet. Comcast owns a stake in Hulu. They do not own a stake in Netflix. That means that Comcast has business interest that is for Hulu and against Netflix. So what Comcast would like to do, and has been caught doing in the past prior to net neutrality rules being instituted, they tried to make sure that when somebody was on their network, I have Comcast, so I go from my Comcast computer and I go and I type in Netflix, I get that annoying buffering bar way more often because they're throttling the amount of data that can come across Netflix. I can't access it quite as much. But if I did the same thing on Hulu, it would work perfectly fine because they're not capping out the speeds. Net neutrality says you may not throttle anybody's bandwidth for any reason. Now, way back in 3 years ago, when these arguments were first going on, first they tried to make the argument for the moral appeal. We need to kill net neutrality because we can knock out porn sites. So, one group of people decided to do a test. before net neutrality rules were put into place, and it kind of became the wild, wild west for about a year or two. Porn sites went haywire. It was the conservative sites that were downregulated. That's a problem. It's a problem. And that's kind of the problem, is that, do you really trust Comcast to be fair and honest, especially when it comes to if I'm on Comcast and I'm stuck on Comcast because there's no other competition in my area, if Netflix streams horribly and Hulu streams well, I very well might dump the Netflix account for a Hulu account, and that helps Comcast's bottom line. That's the problem with net neutrality, is it gives the ISP the ability to make money off of their personal business interests while throttling and dismantling the business speeds of another. The other option is, suppose I wanted to start a new website called Tom's Linux Streaming, and I just want to stream video from my own server. Well, if I'm on Comcast and Comcast is allowed to engage in this net neutrality, as a little startup company, all I'm doing is trying to get people to find me. But then the challenge becomes that if Comcast would come to me and say, hey, we noticed that you have a new streaming site. Yeah, well, your streaming site takes a lot of our bandwidth, so we're going to just throttle you down a little bit because you're taking a lot of bandwidth. But if you'd like to pay us $1 million, we'll go ahead and not throttle your bandwidth. Now, if I'm a small startup company, a small startup company cannot fork out $1 million. And so you want to talk about what hurts innovation. That is what hurts innovation. The fact that they could downregulate my new streaming service, which is in competition with theirs, that is the problem. So that's kind of where I'm at. Hopefully that's helpful. 51400 cap for 30. All right. 60 down, 50 up, true unlimited, no caps. Nice. Companies only want money. Almost every ISPs are caps on upspeed. Yeah, well, the upspeed is, it takes a lot more, it takes a lot more oomph to push things up than it does down. So your upspeeds are generally 10 to 30% of your down speed is what the good rule of thumb is. Competition lowers cost. That is why ISPs love to be the only game in town. Absolutely. No unlimited bandwidth service, but ISP gives you a limit that you can't end it up on a monthly basis. I'm on the right track then. Net neutrality is what we want to keep for certain. Yes. Greetings, Lance. How's it going there? Net neutrality is freedom. Whole idea of no competition in a certain area is so wrong. Yep, that's it. Greetings, Daniel. How's it going there? Oh, I'm getting more people just jumping on here. Maybe I should keep going here. I'm running out of articles. Let's see. Let's just go back and see what I can find here. Let's just do a search for net neutrality day of action. See what The Verge has to say. Okay, so Google released a policy blog post in defense of net neutrality saying, "We hope you'll make your voice heard," but the company didn't release a prominent banner or other far-reaching message. The Zuckmeister posted a note of support on his personal Facebook page. Right now, the FCC has rules in place to make sure the internet continues to be an open platform for everyone, he writes. At Facebook, we strongly support these rules. We're open to working with members of Congress and anyone else who has laws to protect net neutrality. He should just add there, but I'll buy off anybody if it doesn't happen, but no. Keeping the internet open for everybody is crucial. Not only does it promote innovation, but it lets, okay, the chief innovators, as much as I hate Facebook, they are innovators. The chief innovators are saying, You need to keep net neutrality because it helps innovation. The ISP is the only one saying this thing kills innovation. Like, I don't even know if the ISPs are saying. I think it's just the pie. Like, what is going through Pi's pie hole? I mean, I don't know. ACLU, Prompt Civil Rights Group, placed a banner on its homepage. Trump's FCC. Oh, AC. It's not a Republican and Democrat issue, people. I don't care if you hate Trump. Trump's FCC wants to kill net neutrality. So we'll let the cable and phone companies slow down. Any site they don't like or that will not pay any extra. Absolutely. Reddit, in one of the most prominent messages, Reddit placed a pop-up message that slowly reads the text. The internet's less fun when your favorite site slowed slow. Isn't? Ooh, I'm going to check that one out. Reddit. Oh, monthly bandwidth exceeded. Click here to upgrade. Let's click here to upgrade, shall we? Oh, is it connecting? I don't know. I want to see that pop up. The shopping giant placed an image of support on its homepage, although it's not easy to spot at a glance. I don't even see the thing. Not easy to spot at a glance? How about flat out impossible to spot at a glance? Oh. Airbnb released a short message. Twitter policy. Blog posts, Mozilla is long-term vocal supporter of net neutrality. You know, this is a good thing. If you didn't watch Brian Lunduke's statement on the DRM, going back to our previous video that Comcast decided to kill earlier today, he called out Mozilla and said, you guys need to not adopt this support because that's really the only way that they would get involved in, like, get the support of the Free Software Foundation, which I think is quite important there. First world problems. 1, people having to go homeless. 2, internet speeds. Yeah, there you go. Give a test on new Fedora 26 LXQT spin. I'll write it down. No promises. I'm not a huge fan of Fedora. All right. On a side hustle, this legislation makes it harder for me to rank on Google too. Yep. Yeah. You know, that's very true. Google itself does a lot of that too, you know. Even a larger mid-sized company can get screwed. Just more conglomerates buying buyouts. Yeah, that's the thing. You know, I did... when I was doing software sales, the academic software sales, textbook company, we didn't start as a textbook company. We were just an online homework solution company. You know, a biochemist who had a background in programming put together the site, ended up growing 300% 3 years in a row. Well, what they want to do is they realize that a lot of the reasons, like a lot of the challenges in many of the textbook, like online homework systems and things, and the sales processes, is they really weren't built by professionals in the field. They were more built by marketing people trying to, do problems online. And one of the ways that he wanted to boost sales so much is he only employed people who were masters or above in education and who had experience in the field of education. And so they paid us a really good wage, just like, I don't know, 30, 35 bucks an hour to do software consulting on the online homework system. Of course, we were bought out by a big conglomerate company. Within 2 years, they they basically laid off all of us, masters and PhD guys, because they realized that the college flunkies that they're paying $12 an hour could do the same thing as long as they gave them a script, and that was a way to do that. But ever since then, the company's not doing quite as good because of that, and that's kind of one of those things that we need to keep in mind there. Does the proposed standard by W3C affect net neutrality? The proposed standard by WC3 does not have anything to do with net neutrality. It has to do with DRM. And the DRM itself is a problem because, actually, some of the things I was going to say that I didn't get a chance to say on that previous video, one of those things is that if you get a way to get text to displaying through the DRM engine, then even writing down the text that you see for the purpose of a otherwise legal evaluatory quote would be a violation of DRM. But don't think that's too far out there, because if you remember CUFON, not coupon, CUFON was before CSS standards had the ability to import any random font from a file through the @fontface style code, you would use JavaScript and you'd use a jQuery plugin called CUFON. And what CUFON would do is it would take all of the text from your site and it would rewrite it into a series of glyphs that was created from another site. Well, if you ran that through a JavaScript engine through the EMEs that are now the web standard according to the protocols and redisplayed that information on the page, you are now violating the Digital Millennium Copyright Act in the United States if you simply take a copy of the text off the screen. That is insane. So, no, the W3C standard did not impact the net neutrality at all. They naturally got sold. It'll hurt U.S. market, which hurts us. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, definitely check out that Brian Lenduke video. Can be purchased, or you can leave and go to Australia. Yep. Do right after this. Subscribe to both. Good. Okay. What is your thoughts on companies allowed to buy our history/data cookies? I think it's the most horrible thing in the world, and that's actually why I just deployed this script. This script that I just deployed blocks every known ad network, and every known bad site on the internet. It was a huge script I managed to find. I found out that there's foundations that do that kind of stuff, and so I went ahead and got that script and deployed it across my servers. In fact, I'm going to go to my website and I'm going to see what it looks like, because I do display some Google ads on there. I want to see if it took out the Google ads too. Nice. Very nice. No Google ads and no ad blocker is running. That's an awesome script. Love it. Also blocks all those tracking networks. So yeah, that's the problem, is I do not want the ISPs, and that's why I really support the none of the Title II classifications, but all of the other things that make it illegal for them to harvest that data and sell it, because we have to be on the internet. I can choose not to use Facebook, but I have to be on the internet. And that's something that now we have a question is, what about Facebook? Well, for Facebook, they're blocked on most of my computers, so I don't really worry about that all that much, to be honest. I mean, you sold your business? Okay. How do you like Linux Mint 18.2 so far? So far pretty good. I haven't played with it a whole lot. It's on my development computer, which is over there, my development Linux computer. This one here I kept on 18.1 because everything is going fine. Don't forget to like the stream. Thanks, I appreciate it. Thanks, and Sharon. Hey, I appreciate the likes and the shares, folks. News about Facebook. Check it out, Tom. It's fun now. Oh, what news about Facebook? Share the script. Let me think about how I can share the script. I'll show you the script if I can. All right. This is my host file. Let me no, don't open internal. Open as root. All right, so here is actually the host file. I can actually run my scroller this way. So this is my host file. And if I remember, let's see. So it has this. So this is okay. So here's great, awesome. They gave me a website. Here's the website. And so I just downloaded the 127 edition, which is the best way to go. It's just double check it, make sure it has things, but it will literally block. I mean, even blocking Norton. But it kind of starts, I think, with ad sites or maybe adult sites. I don't remember. And then okay, here's conduit toolbar stuff. So, I mean, this thing is comprehensive. So I'm testing it over here because this computer really only gets used for streams. If this is good, I'm going to be deploying it across my entire network. Now, this actually right now is making me want to build a pfSense router. I'm really wanting to do that because on a pfSense router, I could deploy this across my entire network in one fell swoop. My current router, which is pretty crappy, the crappy router that I have I cannot deploy a script. I only can do individual sites. I think I'm capped out at like 15 sites or something. And so here, look at that. I'm blocking Trojan botnets. That's cool. So check out that site there, and that'll kind of give you the host file. That's kind of that. Did somebody dislike me already? I don't like you either. Time Warner employees like the video. Their CEO hates it. Looks like the greatest thing ever. Thanks, I appreciate it. Let me actually, I'm going to copy that link address. I'm going to open that up over here. See if I can get you better info on that. I think you just download it over here, I think. Yeah, I downloaded here, and then what I did is I just grabbed the workstation all zip here. And I prefer you'll see some different things. 127001 is the most common. This is the one that I would go for. So just grab this. You'll save a copy of the archive, and then not documents. So you can see it's here, and this is a 2.9 megabyte file. So it does a really good job of blocking pretty much everything. So that's kind of what I was doing with that. Go back to comments there. All channels should raise their voices against these actions. Internet is already blanked up enough. We need the freedom, more freedom, not less. Absolutely. Even with the best scripts, Windows 10 can still track you. Yeah, Windows 10 does not respect the host file for their own services, but other files it will. Info, I've been using host experts to block ads for a while now. This seems much better. Indeed, it's better on the BSD projects, called distro and Linux sign. Sorry, just arrived. Could you summarize in 10 seconds what the host file is for? Yes. The hosts file... There is a dog apparently outside my window. The host file will, if you follow the whole cascade of how things work online, anytime you're talking about an internet connection, so I go to, whether it's this device here, or it's my phone, or it's an app, or whether it's any program, when I go to a website, so if I go to facebook.com, okay, which we'll not be able to get to it, so if I go to facebook.com, then what happens is there's a series of checks. Now, if your host file by default simply points to your local host, it's 127.0.0.1, it says local host. So if you actually go into a web browser and you type local host, if you do not have a web server running, you get this. If you happen to have a web server running, you will get whatever happens to be in the var/www/public HTML documents folder. So it's just a way of redirecting all of the information. But then what happens is every point from your browser to the internet as a whole will check a file. And whatever is the closest to you overrides anywhere else. So what happens is if I go to facebook.com for real, facebook.com is distributed through a cloud distribution network, CDN. So when I ping into there, it's regulated on what is called a DNS server, a domain name server. So the DNS server will have a load balancer that tells it where to pull the file from. And so I ping facebook.com, assuming there's nothing else in the way. It goes to the root master DNS route. That tells it which server to pull the data from. But if I know that there's 15 different Facebook servers and I know the IP address of one of those servers, I can force my computer by going there by adjusting the host file. But the thing is, I can also control a host file on a network level. So if I were running a router that had the ability to upload a file like this, then what I can do is upload the file, and it doesn't matter what's on my computer host file. Well, actually, what's on your computer host file overwrites what's on the router. But suppose I don't have anything pointing Facebook on my router. It pings the router, and right now I have Facebook going to 127.0.0.1, which means it goes nowhere. Okay? If you're really funny and you want to block things like Facebook against your children or something, you could deploy a little web server on your computer, and then when they go to Facebook, then you can give them a page and go, ain't so, buddy, you know? Just do something goofy like that. But what the host file does on the local computer is it'll take any website and it'll redirect it to either anywhere you want or nowhere at all. And that's what this host file does, is it redirects every one of those ad pings. So when I load up a website, like for example, if I load up The Verge here, The Verge tries to go out and, let me just view the page source. Okay, so The Verge tries to go out and it will load a series of JavaScript scripts. And the JavaScript scripts are going to go out to various ad networks. So you can see, let's see if I can find one here. It's Google Analytics, there's Amazon, there's this one. Just seeing if I can spot an ad network here. There you go. There's one. Okay, so this guy here is pushing chorus ads. Okay, so right now this site, when I load it up, it's trying to push any series of links from chorus ads. But with this computer, how I have the host file set up, chorus ads is going to be blocked. And so when the website calls chorus ads, it just goes to a fizzle. Doesn't go anywhere, which actually greatly increases your load speed time, decreases your advertising, and all that kind of stuff. And so that's kind of the type of stuff that you would see deployed across this. So if you look at a lot of sites, there'll be several of these different ad networks. What's that game one? Ryan, are you still on? What's that game website we were looking at before? The education games, like math games or something. Is it math games? Coolmathgames.com. This one here was just like ads everywhere. You can see everywhere here it says advertisement. It's trying to load an ad network. But you can see that the site is already loaded instantaneously. If I took off this ad networks, if I blocked this whole host file, took off the ad networks, this page would have actually taken me 3 or 4 seconds to load, or longer. But it doesn't because of that host file. So that's a long explanation. Hopefully that helps. But that's what the host file is. Need to periodically update the host file, or aren't very many new advertising sites? You would probably want to update the host file every now and again, but for the most part, it's going to be pretty good. Ad network, the problem is changing the content delivery network of how an ad network works is kind of an annoying factor, and so it's not something that's done a whole lot. Must be the canine unit. That's right. People on mobile like ad block just for the speed. Yep. All right, folks. Well, we've been on this one for about an hour. I just did a 30-minute one prior to this. Do you guys like 2 streams? That was kind of fun. 2 streams? That was kind of neat. Anyway, I think what we're going to do is wrap this one up for now. And then I will, in theory, be doing another live stream on Friday. I do not know exactly when. It'll either 9 or 11. I'm not completely sure yet. And I may or may not get to 2 tutorials tomorrow, WordPress and GIMP. But we'll kind of see what's coming down the pipeline. Regardless, if you do like the site and you would like to support the site, you can find me on Patreon, patreon.com/TomM. And there are also going to be some Amazon links down below. You can check it out over there. I think we'll wrap up with feeding the kitty because he's still sitting over here, and give him some kitty food. So thanks for watching, everybody. And I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.